Hello. As I listen to all the artists speaking, I'm always struck, no matter what art they're creating, at the similarities of the processes that we're going through inside. So many things that I would say have already been said, but I'm going to speak to this idea. When I was told to asked to speak about the feminine, the first thing I thought about was my mother. I'm one of 6 children, 4 girls and 2 boys. And growing up, my mother taught us to crochet, to knit, to sew. So I knit a scarf for first grade, and I wore it to school. She sent us to art classes, pottery classes, drawing, sculpture. We couldn't afford camp, but there were free art classes in Toronto. And when something broke in my house, you had to try to fix it, because otherwise you may not be able to get another one. So we made things and we fixed things. And all of that, I have to honor my mother for giving me skills that have allowed me to be the sculptor that I am. When I chose to be a sculptor, I already had the skill of deciding on a project, gathering the materials, knowing that I could figure out how to put it together, knowing that if I ran into trouble and had to tear some part of it apart, that it was okay to fail and then to succeed. And I think that's something that as an artist we all do. When I begin a new piece, my process, like many here, is very intuitive. I sit down and I draw in my sketchbook. When I get to a drawing that speaks to me, I begin to build. And I use 4x4 lumber, cedar lumber, 8-foot sticks. And because I am building it, I can build it into any shape that I have drawn. So I'm not, I am not inhibited by needing to carve it out of a trunk of a tree. So it's a wonderful process for me because I have all that freedom to build anything that I can draw. I've learned to trust that process of not really knowing where I'm going, but when I see it, I know what it is and I go for it. My pieces, I never think about being a woman and building. I build what I want to build. I use tools that people are often a little like, whoa, you use a chainsaw and a grinder and a table saw. And I go, yeah, and they're really cool tools. And then I build a sculpture that has delicacy. It has that sense sometimes of sewing, hanging, wrapping. My work speaks about relationships between the parts, things touching or not touching. When it works for me, it's because the piece has a presence and it's alive, and when other people come in and it speaks to them, I am delighted.